Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Nerd TV's coverage of the inaugural main event presented by Martin Sports and Nerditude's Ugly Sweater 250 at the Daytona International Speedway. And tonight, these drivers are going to showcase their high-speed talent for 100 laps on the high banks in the Sunshine State for a great cause, all going towards the Toys for Tots organization. And you see the weather right there here from the Daytona International Speedway. Beautiful track conditions. Partly cloudy skies, 78 degrees, couple mile-an-hour wind, and it's going to be the fun race that we've all been waiting for all holiday season long. I'm Jason Rockfell, alongside my good friend and color analyst, Terry Radford in the booth, and our fantastic producer behind the scenes who will pop in from time to time, Dustin Logston. And Terry, Ugly Sweater 250, man, you told me to put on an ugly sweater. I got my Bud Light one out of the closet, and you're not even wearing one. You got to support Scott out here.
So I realized I didn't have a sweater, so I just figured I'd be ugly. So I'm ugly. And yeah, Martin Sports was gracious enough to give some gifts out and be one of the proud supporters and sponsors for this race. So yeah, I'll put my Martin Sports jersey on. I didn't get a Nerditude one, so we'll wear the green one probably next year when I do this show, since last year I was supposed to participate in this one as a driver. And I'm almost positive something happened and I didn't get to do it.
Hey,
so,
Terry, I'm just going to point out that even the drivers came dressed for the attire with an ugly sweater.
Yeah, I think I'm just, like I said, I think I'm just ugly. So I didn't need a sweater to be ugly. So I did wear one. I hate Christmas. So there you go. Breaking news. I don't like Christmas. I'm the Grinch.
There you go.
I'm the
That's your
Dustin
favorite car?
Swordber's Hood. I absolutely hate Christmas, and I think it's a meaningless holiday. But I support the Toys for Tots charity. It's one of the best charities out there on the planet. Anybody who watched the Moon Car 24, they had over $8,000 raised the last time I looked at it. The event's almost wrapping up, so good for them. Let's try to put a little bit more money towards that and help a good cause and kids that don't have families and don't get gifts on a holiday that's all materialistic and wrapped around gifts and stuff.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, too, and Terry, I came to you and a lot of others last year with doing an event for Toys for Tots. It was going to be the Toys for Tots shootout. Didn't work out the way we wanted to, but here we are, obviously, Scott and Dustin alongside yourself as well up here with us. We're able to put this on together. I myself am a kid that was, I had a Christmas or a couple Christmases where I had some donations, not through Toys for Tots, but through my school board. And my sister and I, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. I mean, my mom struggled a lot, especially being a single mother. But, people were kind enough to donate to us and make sure that we had a Christmas. So this is something that's near and dear to my heart. So it's glad, or we're all glad, especially myself included, that we obviously get to put on one heck of a show here tonight for you all at home listening and watching. And also to show support for all the families and the kids who just can't afford a Christmas, because everybody deserves to, not be lonely and obviously be able to celebrate the Christmas spirit that Terry Radford, oh so desperately hates. But it's going to be a fun one tonight. We have a lot of stuff, obviously. First place, if you finish first tonight, you get $100. And most of these drivers probably, if they finish inside these top 4 positions that earn, obviously revenue, they're probably going to donate more than likely. First gets the Martin Sports customized event flag and a prize choice. Second place, also $100 and a prize choice. Third, $100 prize choice. And fourth place gets a prize choice. And the prize choices tonight, you have an iRacing iFlag unit, you have a Boomer Button Box unit, you have a 3-month subscription to Team Watson Racing setups, and you have the choice to get a beautiful pair of the best sim racing gloves on the market, Martin Sports gloves. I got some. I know you got some. I know we all got some over here. So it's going to be really fun tonight. And Dustin, I might as well bring you in here real quick. What does it mean to be able to put this event on with yourself and Scott and get involved with Toys for Tots and, all the countless, minutes and hours you guys have put in to making an event like this here tonight?
It's a great feeling. It really is. We've had a very long-lasting partnership with Martin Sports. We've worked very closely together. We've met some amazing people such as, Terry and yourself. And we got a good community here. And much like you, Jason, growing up, it was tough. So I have also benefited from the gracious donations from Toys for Tots as well. So it is a an event that's very meaningful to my heart as well. And it's just something that Martin Sports and Nerditudes and everybody involved, we just love giving back. I mean, that's the whole point, is to give back and have fun while doing it.
Yeah, and it's going to be so fun, obviously, here tonight. And real quick, Dustin, if you want to go and donate to the Toys for Tots charity, you can donate with this QR code. Screenshot it. Use your iOS device or Android, whatever. Scan that QR code. It'll bring you right to the donation link. You can donate X amount of dollars, however much you want, to the Toys for Tots organization from the Marine Corps. So it's going to be really fun. Obviously, qualifying just starting up here, Terry. These drivers have 5 minutes to qualify. It's going to be group qualifying, and if you want to get a good lap in here, especially in group qualifying, something we don't really see nowadays, what do you have to do if you want to start up towards the front?
My strategy is a lot different than everybody else's. If in the open setup world, even in the fixed setup world, I want to be the pusher. I don't really want the quick draft down the back straightaway or in the tri-oval to risk the fact of having to slow down when you actually go punch somebody. I want to be right tucked up on it. Me and Dustin actually normally qualifies right next to one another in a group qualifying set. And even in single car, we both kind of understand the balance of it, that you want to start your lap up high on your warm-up lap, and then you want to work your way down to the bottom. The moment you get to the tri-oval, about right there where you see Dustin as in the 9, that red mark, you come back down, swoop to that line. And if you have that third truck in this group qualifying, you're able to really get the slipstream. As you see, Thomas is right there. Now you got 4 lined up in a row. That lead truck of Bladen Edwards is in the worst spot. The only way he's in a good position is if Dustin's doing what he's doing. Stays on that back bumper, gives him 2 distinct shots, lets him pull away, 2 distinct shots before you get to the corners. He does right there, right past the Daytona sign. Going into the corner, give him the shot on the entry to 3, and then hope that you don't get side drafted like they did to the outside there with the 42. But a couple shots. They're not counting X's in qualifying, so you can bump draft, you can tandem style of what the truckers can't do in real life. But yeah, lo and behold, there goes the top of the charts. Andrew Navarro was pushing Larry McDonald. Larry McDonald goes to the top of the board. Dustin Sorber, not what he wanted. His lap did not count. So guess we'll find out at the 8. His lap did not count either. Actually, Gary Clune. He'll line up there, and now Dustin's going to take the spot there on the 72 of Bladen Edwards, who, once again, didn't get a lap counted, and mayhem in qualifying.
Yeah, we're approaching here just under 2 minutes to go, approaching the 3rd minute marker out of 5 minutes. You can see these guys. It's really out here, Terry. This kind of reminds me of, you remember back in the mid-2010s where obviously, really all 3 NASCAR national divisions all ran group qualifying, and a big problem with the group qualifying was wrecking. And I'm sure these guys want to make sure they don't go out here and wreck, because you think about the 2015 Daytona 500, Clint Boyer, got blocked coming up on the racetrack by one of the Golden Corral cars, caused a massive wreck, like you almost saw right there with the number 8 of Gary Clune in that Ford F-150. And now they had to, make sure that they made the Daytona 500, that being Clint Boyer. And that's something that obviously we don't see anymore. We went back to single, car qualifying, but it's always nice to have a change of pace and give these guys an opportunity, because Terry, qualifying single car at Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta is super, super difficult.
Yeah, it is. And it goes off of what you were talking about with the wrecking part of it. Daytona, Talladega is probably the world's worst. You're going to be in that position. But the funny part is drivers who are fast. You think of Navarro driving in the in Road to Pro. He wins in almost everything he gets in. He's up front, so the fast just stay fast regardless. You take a look at the keys to victory in the ugly sweater 250. Don't push the pusher. Don't do that. If you're the 3rd car in line or the 3rd truck in line, stay off that back tailgate. You want to stay about an inch to 2 inches away from that bumper. The top line momentum, that is absolutely accurate. If you can get that second line going and the first car in line side drafts and then pulls back up, you'll be great. You got to find your dancing partner early. Me and Dustin are not good dancing partners at all. We always call us the last one, the big one, which is most likely, we know who our dancing partner is. It's always myself, Scott, Dustin, and we get Jeremy in there every now and again, and I always find a way to get aggressive early. And I'm always the one that finishes the damn race. That's the crazy part about it. I recommend that I finish the damn race either in first or second. So avoid the big one at all costs. It's going to happen. It just when it's going to happen.
Yeah, and qualifying about to come up, to a close here in just a minute. And it looks like Larry McDonald and Andrew Navarro are going to hold the front row for the inaugural Ugly Sweater 250 here at Daytona, just getting ready for everybody to finish up their laps, get off the racetrack from what it looks like, and they're still going right now, so I'm kind of curious as to why it hasn't ended yet, but I'm sure it will come to a close in just a handful of seconds. And obviously these guys racing for 100 laps tonight, doing it for all a great cause. Unlimited tire sets, 100% fuel load. And Scott Martin decided, you know what the hell, I'm going to put 6 green-white checkered attempts on this thing. I don't know what made him think that was a good idea, but we're going to see if we're going to have to use all 6 attempts. And obviously, Terry, one big thing about these guys is one faster pair. That's going to be key. But with that being said, we're about to grid. We're about to give you all the starting lineup here for the inaugural Ugly Sweater 250 at Daytona. First 5 rows. Row number 1, Larry McDonald in the number 80 alongside Road to Pro's own Andrew Navarro there. Row number 2, Jeffrey Wallace, Mike Adamson. Row number 3, Dustin Sorber, one of the nerds of our own, and Brandon Gagnon in the 83 machine. Row number 4, Bladen Edwards, Aubrey Thompson there in the number 038. And then Terry, row number 5, rounding out the top 10, Gary Clune and Richard Elliott in the 202.
Yeah, we'll look at row 6 where you'll find Jeff Ace Vetta, or Veto. I'll screw that one up all night. Richie Coy. Yeah, whatever. Richie Coy's out there to the outside. Dave Mayberry in 13th. Jess Font, and then Justin Mills back there in 15th. Todd Sharrow, Kyle Westwood, David Fettit, and then Cody Matthews and Dustin Eaton rounds out your top 20.
And then the next few rows, you have row 11, you have Albert Anderson the third, Gary Armijo. I'll probably butcher that one just like you said.
Yeah.
Armio. There we go. That's one I got to butcher. And row number 12, you have Kyle Oakley in the 17, TJ Bartell in row number 12 as well. Row 13, Cole Larson, and then Thomas Kolmazeski in the number 69 machine, Scott Schroeder in the 74, and Peyton Howell in row number 14. And row number 15, you have Pete Polini and Clayton White right there. And then Terry will give you the rest of the rundown for tonight's event.
Wow, 36. Scott Schroeder with Peyton Howell out there, who did not set a time down, so 28th on back, didn't put one. Pete Polini, I believe he is our race control. Clayton White, Miles Morris, Ryan Strunk, John Paul Burns, Gerald J. McKee, and you got Alan DeCarco. Yeah, there you
Alan
go.
Duranco. There we go.
Duranco, and then Christopher Hall back there in the 36th position. Most of these drivers not laying the time down. That'll take you through your, I believe it's 37 starters. If my math was correct, taking Pete Polini out of this event, he will be our, lo and behold, 36. So 36 will take the green flag. Will we finish with 36, Jason? Probably not. But 36 will take the initial green flag at Daytona.
And Terry, that was what I was going to mention to you, too. You talk about 36 trucks trying to finish, obviously, all packed up together, running nearly almost 200 miles an hour here around the 2.5-mile D-shaped super speedway in the Sunshine State. And that being the one fast repair these get. And I know you know, and I know Dustin knows, that one fast repair can be so dreadful because you don't want to use it too early on, but you also want to make sure if you do get involved in a wreck to not use it and obviously sacrifice a little bit of speed so you can repair your car. God forbid you got involved in an earlier wreck.
Yeah, if you can come down pit lane and get, if you have, minor damage to the truck, you obviously want to get it fixed and hang out in the back. That's the one thing that I had to learn was patience from Dustin, which is if you ride up front, I'm aggressive on plate tracks. I want to lead every single lap. I don't want to go to the back. If I'm outside the top 2 rows, I'm fighting like hell to get back in the top 2 rows. But if I get caught up in something and I have that fast repair in my back pocket, I'm always quick to burn it. And then I find myself in trouble. And then I get wrecked again and I'm out of the race. If you get a little bit of a crinkle on the fender or just the tailgate, get it fixed. If it's under a minute, you have a minute around here just for a half a lap. It's 2 minutes under caution. They'll figure it out. But I tell you what, that pace car is going to come down and in, Jason. It's time to go ugly sweater racing.
All for a good cause tonight here at the virtual Daytona International Speedway. The pace car is in, lots of trucks ready to go, green flags in the air. We're underway for the inaugural Ugly Sweater 250 at Daytona, and Andrew Navarro and Larry McDonald lead the field into turn number 1. Mike Adamson gives a big shove to Navarro, and he's going to lead him all the way to 1 and into turn number 2.
Yeah, I think McDonald and Navarro were working very closely together there, because you saw Mike Adamson give a massive shot to the back bumper. Navarro shoved him to the lead. Everybody wants to go to the bottom. The moment they clear, they want to tuck in, and Navarro played nice there, allowed Brandon Gagnon to work his way to the bottom. So top 2 started in the second row on the outside lane now. So our pole sitter and our outside pole sitter are both sitting 3rd and 4th. The outside lane, Aubrey Thompson, Jeffrey Wallace, they're all up there trying to make some passes. And look, getting racy early. There goes Gagnon looking for the lead.
Here comes Brandon Gagnon looking to the outside. He'll take the race lead away with help from Aubrey Thompson, who's been very, very competitive recently in the FEG Custom PC Wild Wednesday Money Series on Wednesday nights. He's been really, really strong, trying to give that push to the back bumper of Gagnon, this time off turn number 2. And Terry, you talked about it during the keys for the race. That momentum on the top side really comes into play at a place like Daytona rather than Talladega, because this track is a lot tighter with its radius.
Yeah, but it's not that fast if you're swaying back and forth. And you saw right there with Gagnon, he had a little bit of a moment where the tailgate was going back and forth, and he wants to side draft early. It's too early to do this. You see the speed difference there. Aubrey kind of checked up just a tad bit, not necessarily wanting to get to the back bumper of the 83. He wants to push the bubble of air, not necessarily push the truck. And that's going to be the big key. Who wants to get aggressive early on that bottom lane? Because Navarro was given a couple taps to the back bumper of Mike Adamson. He's shoving him down the back straightaway. But does the outside lane want to do that as well? You go on board on the back deck lid of our race leader, Mike Adamson, in the 89, looking right at that number 42 Toyota. You see the Road to Pro banner on it. He thinks he's still trying to race for a Coke spot.
Yeah, and for sure, he definitely is. He's been running that number 42 scheme probably all year long with the truck. You're seeing this outside lane starting to come back at him. And you know something, Terry, you mentioned about pushing in the corners and obviously stuff like that, you know. And with the outside lane, if they try pushing through the corners, we've seen a lot of incidents where one driver will get out of line and somebody like Brandon Gagnon, for example, might get a push from that number 38 machine of Aubrey Thompson in the center of the corner. You might see him shift down to that inside lane. We could see calamity. You think back to the Coke Zero Sugar 400, obviously, for the NASCAR Cup Series earlier in the year. And you saw Ty Gibbs give a little bit of a push, or actually it was Christopher Bell give a push to Ty Gibbs and turned him right into Ryan Blaney, caused a massive pileup. So these guys have to be careful with pushing in the center of the corners, especially with how loose these trucks can get when you give a push to them.
Well, the good thing about iRacing is they updated the model of the trucks, and it allows you to get a little bit more aggressive. It's not what it used to be with, you know, the sticky substance they used to put on the back bumpers. It's sort of kind of like that, at least the feel. And, you know, most of my 13 oval wins, and I guess I'll call the stat out there, have been on super speedway type racetracks. Talladega, Daytona has been majority of the wins that I've been able to accrue. Only a few of them I've got on the 1.5-mile versions of anything. So if you can get the bumpers to align properly in these. And there's also always been a problem. The Toyotas trying to line up and give the shot to the Chevys, the Fords, and the Xfinity Series is kind of the same. But in these right here, you see how the nose of the Toyota is just so small. By the time it gets to the back bumper, you have no choice but to be aligned with the Chevy Silverado tag. Like, there's not a whole lot of space of that Toyota truck to even make a wrong move. Unless you get on the quarter panel, the left quarter panel, the right quarter panel, you kind of get away with a little bit in the trucks. Any other car, you get on that right rear or the left rear, they're gone. And you see Navarro putting air on that nose. He's going to that right rear of the truck, allowing air to get to the bumper of it, not slowing his momentum, also staying in the draft, while also giving the push and taking care of Mike Adamson. He's got a lot to think about in that second place position. All Mike's got to do is hold a pretty wheel and not go up when Navarro goes up. But the outside lane's got a lot more to think about, Jason. They got to think about side drafting. They got to think about the runs they get. They got to think of who gets loose, if anybody's going to check up in front of them. 7 laps have gone by, and I guarantee you they've ran about 100 to 200 scenarios in their head of how it's going to get destroyed.
Oh, yeah, and there's no doubt about that for sure, Terry, because you think about it for us as iRacers, you're thinking about every scenario in your head that could happen. What if one guy goes a little bit higher and leaves the middle lane open? What happens if this guy comes half a truck length off the bottom lane? There's so many scenarios that a driver, whether it be in the real world or the sim world, will really run through their head, kind of like, daydreaming, thinking about it all in the meanwhile going almost 200 miles an hour. This inside lane, though, is doing a really good job holding that outside at the top. You're not really seeing Gagnon get very aggressive. He knows better than to come down, side draft the leader. Remember, we still have a little over 90 laps to go in this race. So it's, going to be really aggressive early on, but really calm at the same time. And I think, Terry, what these guys really got to worry about is if this race does go green all the way to that first cycle of green flag stops, that's when you're going to have to start playing different types of scenarios in your head.
Yeah, I mean, you think of the scenarios that could be ran if we get that green flag stop. I don't expect to see tires being changed at all unless we're under the caution flag. And even then, you theoretically could get away because lap times does not fall off here. You're going about the same. I mean, our fastest lap time of the session was a 47.3. That's obviously back in 19th, where the pull of the draft, if you lost some of the draft, and I believe Clayton White lost just a little bit, he's about 3 seconds back. That second pack, actually, he caught some draft, and then he's going to have to work his way back up. So the more he gets pushed in the tight or knit that everybody else gets, they'll be able to work their way up to that groove and back to the pack that's the lead ones. I would believe they're praying for the caution. I mean, they're starting to slowly chip in. It's 2.9 at the moment. That's about a tenth and a half of where they've gotten at this moment, 10 laps into this race. Everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Don't forget, this is for charity. This is for Toys for Tots, so don't be a stranger. You see the QR code right there in the left-hand side of the screen. Make sure you scan that with your iPhone, Android, if you're watching on the computer. If not, take a screenshot of it. Do it later. Go back and watch it on YouTube, Nerditudes, or go watch it on Facebook at Nerditudes as well. And support the cause. Think about all the people in need. If it's $1, $2, $10, help the families here for Toys for Tots. And let's have a good 100 laps of racing, which so far, Jason, it has been 100 or 10 green flag laps, now 11. See if we can set a record here and go all hundo.
Yeah, that could be something that would obviously be probably once in a blue moon, that you don't really see that much in super speedways nowadays. Mike Adamson still leading that charge on the inside of the racetrack. Just now 90 laps to go. The field pretty closely together up here in this lead pack. Usual style super speedway racing, Terry. And then you have your stragglers at the back. And really, as a sim driver, what do you think, in your opinion, is probably the best scenario? Do you want to stay up at the front? Like you said, you want to lead all 100 laps. Or do you think it's okay to sometimes fall to the back? Maybe you get a little nervous. You don't want to be involved in somebody's mess. What do you think the best strategy is here when it comes to these super speedway type racetracks?
You're asking the wrong guy, and I guarantee you Dustin's sitting back there pressing the buttons on his computer going, I can't wait to hear the stupidness that's come out of his mouth. There is no perfect strategy to these. None at all. Dustin and Scott have their own strategy with Jeremy that they play where they sit in the back the entire time. I'm polar opposite. I have to be up front. I want to be in control of my own destiny. I don't want some jackrabbit back there in the middle of the pack that's going to control whether I'm upside down and I've lost I rating or SR in the process. So I want to be up front and control what I can control. I can control the draft, control the runs. Dustin's completely opposite of me. He sits in the back for if it's a 60-lap race in the B car or if it's a 50-lap race in the truck. He'll sit in the back, wait for everybody to wreck. He'll be 5 seconds off the pack. Him, Scott, and a pack of people. The big-ass wreck will happen, and they'll get in the middle of the field, and they'll have a run to the end. Or they'll be the first ones collected in the crash because Dustin took my strategy, and I wreck him going for the lead. So there's no perfect strategy.
Now that would never
these.
happen. Now would
No.
it? No.
I mean, my strategy has worked 9 times, actually 10 times. My strategy has worked 10 times to lead every single lap and to be up front when it counts, and to I either finish top 2, top 3, or I win it. There's a lot of differences in it. And Scott just joined the broadcast, and Scott can tell you, when it comes to racing a plate track with me, I'm all. We could literally sit in the same Discord, and I qualify, they don't.
And you know what's funny? And you know what the
Hi, man, a few words.
Man, a few words, Mr. Scott Martin.
Yeah, no, I just popped in. You guys are doing a great job. Broadcast looks great. What a fantastic start.
Yeah, we're 14 laps green.
That's awesome.
Scott hadn't caused the big one yet.
You guys are crushing it. Yeah.
I think if Scott was out here though, he probably would have caused the big one on lap number 2, if he was lucky.
No. Lap 1, turn 3. Everybody knows that's where this is won or lost. Everybody knows that.
Facts.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, I don't want to bug you guys too much. I'll be popping in and out, popping
You're
down,
not
talking
bugging
to the
us.
drivers. Man, what a great turnout though. We got a lot of talent on track today.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, that's because you and I are not on the track.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
Even if lower in the I rating about 1,000. But
There's absolutely no talent in the broadcast group either. I don't know.
that's why I like it. I blend.
In between the 4 of us collectively, there's no accomplishments here. I couldn't even get nominated for a dang Semi Award. It's the wildest thing in the world to me.
Hey, I wasn't nominated either.
I'm salty here. But I'm even more salty at the fact that I don't have a Christmas sweater. It's pretty sad.
And I told Terry, I was like, he told me to wear a dang Christmas sweater, and I'm wearing his Christmas sweater. But hey, you know, he's got the Martin Sports one on for you, Scott. And
Very nice.
do. I
he
do
does.
have the.
And here's the thing, Scott, and I'm gonna ask you because I asked Dustin earlier with this, with Dustin giving us his input. I'm gonna ask you the same question. Obviously, with you guys talking and obviously getting together and wanting to donate to Toys for Tots and whatnot, what does it mean to be able to host an event like this, have all this talent on this racetrack, the non-talent up here in the booth that Terry Radford talked about? What does it mean to you to be able to have an event like this be put on?
All right, well, first of all, you got to thank the United States Marine Corps for everything that they do with the Toys for Tots drives. I got some amazing real-life friends who, they mean everything to me, and they're a big part of the Marine Corps, a big part of my life. And we just wanted to do something this year that everybody could get behind, and that was it. So I think it's great. And the turnout, as far as the talent on track, pretty rare that we're going to put 20 laps down with maybe 3 incident points awarded so far. You know, it's I'm blown away at the talent that's on the track, the support that everybody showed us today. we'll make a good-sized donation, hopefully, and do this again. And every year, make it bigger, make it better.
It's been awesome to obviously have you come up in here into the booth with us and peek your head in and obviously show your support for Toys for Tots and letting us be able to do this, man. This has obviously been a blast so far. We're only 18 laps into this event, Terry, and I'm already having a really good time up here. And I'm sure that these drivers on track are having a really good time, with Richie Coy taking the lead away with Jess Vaught up on the outside, and then Dave Mayberry right behind them. Oh, and Richie Coy just barely cut off Brandon Gagnon going into turn number 3. Near calamity struck there, heading for 3 and 4.
Yeah, I don't think Brandon in the 83 was excited for that move, but Richie Coy, he's no slouch on the server. No slouch in racing in general. Very accomplished across his time here. And, you know, the ripe old age of 50 never hurt anybody. I hear New Jersey people in their 50s are not really 50. They're like 30-something. So good on Richie Coy up here leading this race. You got Jess Vaught in the 3 trying to go to the outside lane. The 29 of Dave Mayberry working their way up here. And some of our guys that was up there early in the initial start. You had Andrew Navarro. The only one who has stayed is the 83 of Brandon. Has really not had to make a whole lot of moves. He started 6th. He's worked his way to 5th. You see a little bit of argy-bargy action happen back there where the truck's not necessarily wanting to set. The tires might not wear that much here, Jason, but in all honesty, it gets a little bit more difficult when you're in the middle of the pack and the right front tire starts to act a little funny. You start to get tight. You build the factors in these trucks. The weather's starting to cool down just a little bit. And good on iRacing, the latest update they have done to kind of make the dynamic racetrack even more dynamic. Something that I love about the service is they try to make it better. And every update they attempt to make it better and better. And here we go again. Dustin Eaton's going to take the race lead. But look at how sexy some of these trucks are. Even though I'm more of a Scrooge in the Christmas time frame, these trucks look pretty festive.
Yeah, we got some takers coming onto pit road right here. Andrew Navarro leading Richard Elliott, Aubrey Thompson, Bladen Edwards.
Perfect
Justin
strategy.
Mills. Yeah.
This is the perfect strategy. I race a lot of money races with these boys. This is the perfect strategy in a 100-lap showdown.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Andrew Navarro, again, one of those drivers similar to Aubrey Thompson, who's been running the FEG Custom PC Wild Wednesday Money Series on, obviously, Wednesday nights, you know. And he's been doing a really good job this season running in it. A lot of these drivers are, between Andrew Navarro, Aubrey Thompson, a few others. But it does not surprise me, Terry, that these guys wanted to come into the pits here a little bit earlier than most of the field and try to leapfrog them by getting together with 5 trucks. Because you think about it, too, you've seen a lot of times where the common super speedway saying, you know, for us, you know, for many years, up until about a few years ago, was, oh, the bigger the pack, the faster you're going to be. That's not really the case.
Wrong.
That is not the case anymore. It is completely, you want a few trucks all grouped up together, single file, don't get out of line, push each other, be clean, stay tight together, run the same line, don't get off that double yellow line, compared to the big packs where you see a lot of shuffling around and a lot of guys trying to make moves when they're not gaining any time and they're not, you know, really making anything happen.
Yeah, can we actually go back to that pack that just came off the pit lane? Because there's something interesting that you just brought up, and it's something that I learned. Alex Light actually taught me this, shockingly enough, and then a lot of other drivers have come in behind him and kind of ran this same strategy. You see how the leader of this pack, the driver sitting there in that 2 truck, how he's holding the pretty line. And the 2 is, I believe that's Alan. I can find him on my time in here. Yeah, so Justin Mills holds the lead. You see how he instantaneously went to the bottom, and he has Navarro behind him, and then they have more drivers stacked up in this pack. All of these drivers have one common goal, whether they want to or not, because you have Aubrey Thomas, Richard Elliott, Bladen Edwards. Like, look at the drone shot we're pulling here to go all the way back to this back truck. And yeah, that back truck there just kind of minds its P's and Q's, but Thompson staying right on the back bumper of Navarro, Navarro staying on the back bumper of Mills. all of these trucks have to stay perfectly in tow. If one even so much as gives the wrong push and makes them check up, their run dies. And then they got to regenerate that momentum. So stay tight like an accordion. Don't spread out like a yo-yo. Just keep it tight. Keep all 3 trucks, and then just keep the other 2 kind of back there behind you. It saves you some time. It actually gains you about a second. They're actually the fastest trucks on the Speedway by over a second.
Yeah, and that's something obviously that's, really shown on super speedway racing, especially here on the iRacing service. And like you said, Terry, you see the back truck right back there. Minding its P's and Q's, Andrew Navarro, the only one giving that push to that number 2 machine, obviously. As they come down the back straightaway, they're going to obviously eventually catch right back up to that lead pack once they pit. And then, Terry, that reminds me, because these guys pitted, and they're going to try to leapfrog, obviously. They want to make sure that they're the only 5 trucks out there when they get to those leaders and eventually pass them when they come down pit road. When do you see this lead pack really starting to break apart and starting to come to pit road?
They're doing it wrong. I mean, obviously the 20 lap mark would have been the one, because it's going to be I believe it's going to be a 2-stopper. I mean, you're not making this on 1 stop. But what Navarro and them wanted to do was get out of the line, make faster time, keep themselves out of trouble. You see them starting to get very racy. That's a strategy very common with drivers. I mean, you got a lot of good drivers there, all above 3K, -1, and there it is. There's the wreck. There's the caution that all of those drivers wanted to miss, and they are going to miss it. So once the caution flag is displayed as, oh, that was dangerous, which I hope the caution flag comes out. That was a lot of trucks stopped on the racetrack. There it is. Caution flag waves, and now the drivers who was 28th through 32nd, all going to be in the lead, because all the rest of them are going to come pit.
I'm sure somebody up there in the admin box probably ended up having a David Hoots moment, wanting to say, put it out. But right there, hard into the wall, you see the 9 machine just kind of come right down, Terry, into that 07. We're going to see if we can have a couple more replays. But a couple trucks really, whoa, look at the 20, almost completely weight shifts. Nearly goes on its lid, but thankfully sets back down on the ground. And Terry, you got to think to yourself, with obviously those first round of somewhat pit stops happen between those 5 trucks, this really got this field pretty scrambled up. We saw them not as tight as what they were, and obviously just an incident right here coming off the tri-oval.
Yeah, and that's a massive hit there for the 07. I mean, he hit the wall a ton. Didn't necessarily do a lot of damage to it. I think the most damage that was done, it still didn't do a lot of damage to the 9 either. Dustin, not too bad. You saw Cole Larson right there on the 20. I like the Coca-Cola scheme he's got. I hate that one was wrecked. Glad he has a fast repair, because Coca-Cola is the official fan refreshment of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. I don't know if you knew that or not, Jason.
I think I did.
Good little plug in there somewhere. Look at the avoidance, and I think still ended up getting hit. Like, went all the way to the bottom, go, low. Damn.
Ow. Yeah. Damn is right. Damn is right for sure.
Like, thought you were clear, thought you were going to miss it. Just kidding. You're the wall that's going to stop the momentum.
And that's the thing too with these super speedways. You try to get around a wreck, and we've seen this countless times, whether it be in the sim or the real world. You think you're gonna be clear, and then all of a sudden, at the last minute, you're about to be clear. You're about to be like, "Woo! I'm free. I'm home free, baby." Next thing you know, you get plowed right in the right rear quarter panel.
Right in the kisser.
Yeah, right there in the kisser, like to say. And then, unfortunately, for the 20 of Cole Larson going around, that's going to be some heavy damage to the right rear for sure, no doubt about it. And I believe we just had our first round of pit stops throughout the whole field. It looks like Mike Adamson is going to be the race leader for the time being. Brandon Gagnon, Larry McDonald there in the top 3 currently, as you're seeing us right now. Continuing to go back to the replay, going back to on-track activity here in just a moment. And you see everybody. And here we have some technical difficulties. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for the Ugly Sweater 250. National Speedway here for the Ugly Sweater 250. And I believe the field has just gone green again, and Jess Vaught has the lead over TJ Bartel as they're neck and neck down the back straightaway right now. You see the bottom lane, Terry, has a lot of trucks, but that top lane's trying to get formed up pretty quickly with Bartel trying to take the lead away, but Vaught fights hard back on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, the bottom lane not allowing that outside groove to really make the momentum we talked about in the early stages of this race to the keys to victory. But look at the run they get through 3 and 4. When they come off the exit of 4, there's kind of like a downhill slope. And Bartel is able to take the lead just by about a fender. It's 2/1000ths of a second puts them there to the lead. And now Vaught takes it again. He'll get the bottom lane rolling in that number 3, and then the run once again goes all the way back up there with the 15 of Todd Sharrow, who's up 13. TJ Bartel is up 23 positions. He started 24th, Jason. He's up to the lead. That tells you it doesn't matter what your strategy is, you can make it happen.
Yeah, you see one of those nerd motorsports drivers up there, that being TJ Bartel leading the top side with Todd Sharrow, like you had mentioned before. Bottom side trying to get lined up, and really here, Terry, there's a little bit more of kind of, different variety of drivers up here at the front of this field. Some we haven't really seen all night. Todd Sharrow, Cody Matthews, we talked about Dave Mayberry a little bit, Gary Clune as well, and obviously Jess Vaught there in the number 3, so a little bit of a different mix up here at the front of this race. We're just 34 laps in.
Yeah, and the crazy part about having the wreck, we still got 31 drivers on the racetrack. Peyton Howell backed out. You got Fettit, he's a lap down. A couple other drivers are a lap down, but they had to tow. So they're a lap down, but theoretically, I mean, we're semi-expecting to see more caution flags. We have 65 laps remaining in this race. Calm down a little bit. We want to see everybody finish at the end of this. When you see a lot of shaking and moving in your top 10 box that's dropped down, appreciate all the work that Dustin has put into the stream here, all of our sponsors ticking across. But look at the lights that are dangling from the ticker. Our scoring pylon here is in the festive mood itself. It has, opposite of me, it is actually joyous for the occasion this year, as I'm still in the Grinch mood.
Yeah, I'm sure too. If this was, any kind of usual broadcast, if you were the producer, you'd probably make it all orange and put a bunch of Tennessee stuff all over the place, because I know how much you love your Tennessee football, for sure, no doubt about it.
You must have followed me in my early stages when I was Vols fan 88, and we had nothing but an orange ticker. But I'm not as advanced as Dustin is here with the production side of it. I coded some. Like, I went through it and messed with the SDK and got the color changed to orange, but he has done a phenomenal job, from the transition screens to getting the camera feed into it to tuning lights on the darn thing and snow. A lot of cool things over here on Nerd TV that is very underappreciated from a lot of people, and I wish more would come see the amazing work that you, Jeremy Stanley, does over here. Dustin Longston does a great job. All the Nerditude team just always put together a pretty bomb broadcast, regardless of what it is. Money race, charity race. They care about the community, and it's good to be a part of these shows. I mean, we're going to come to 60 laps to go here in about 2.5 laps. And I'm sure there's more bells and whistles that Dustin's going to bring out and show us during this broadcast. But maybe we don't have to go to a commercial anymore, so we can watch these cool paint schemes drive around this racetrack as the sun goes down and the lights are beaming on these things.
Yeah, and obviously the sun has gone down over the horizon here in the state of Florida. You're seeing right now, though, Terry, at the top of the racetrack, second line in that Kodak machine, that number 15 of Todd Sharrow, kind of starting to peek his nose out to the outside when TJ Bartell gets a little too close for comfort in his eyes to that rear quarter panel on the right side of Jess Vaught, because I could have swore that 15 machine was going to completely split Bartell heading into 3 just a couple times. And here we go. This could play a factor big time. Looks like they're approaching a lap truck heading out of turn number 4. They are at a significantly more higher speed than that lap truck on the bottom. They'll go to the inside of the racetrack, and meanwhile, they're still back up the front. Everybody's still double wide as the 15, a little bit loose going through the tri-oval, trying everything he can do to give that push to TJ Bartell and not lose it.
Yeah, for the 15 to Shero, I'm not sure if he has a steering issue behind, because I've been kind of watching him as we did the panoramic shot of the racetrack here, and you see him swaying quite a ton. You don't see Bartell moving back and forth. Oh, almost got turned there. See, he's aggressive with the push. Sometimes you have to be the least aggressive to go the fastest. And I know from experience, if you push somebody to the extreme, Dustin, you spin them in front of the field. And I don't think Shero in the 15 has his steering ratio correct. I think he might be running something just a little bit too aggressive. Maybe he's running a 12-1. I would go to the 14-1 in that situation. It loosens your steering a little bit, kind of gives you a little bit more arc in the corner, lets you be a little bit more aggressive with the steering wheel. But for him, when he gets to the back bumper, you see him. It's like he's cleaning his nose off. He's swaying back and forth, and there, I almost turned him again. He's just getting way too aggressive with the push, and he can't control it. He's not getting shoved from the back from the 18 there, so not too sure why he's getting necessarily that aggressive on the right quarter panel.
And that's something we talked about, obviously, with some of these trucks. Obviously, the 3 different manufacturers, Toyota, Chevy, Ford. Not all of them line up perfectly, in my opinion. I always saw the Chevy as the best pusher when it came to the plate tracks. Those Fords, they kind of have that triangle-shaped nose, really. And then, obviously, the Toyotas, they get really narrow, like you had mentioned, Terry, in the front. And then those fenders, they don't flare out as long as what the Chevys and the Fords do. They kind of start to curve in super early from where the wheel well usually is. And I think that's probably why you see the Chevys usually being the best pushers. In fact, the Chevy leading the field right now with another Chevy pushing him. A little bit of contact possibly back here towards the back of the field. Dustin Sorber, Miles Morse, Cole Larson all together right now. Saw them up near the wall. They're going to kind of drift to the back possibly as you see the 9 of Sorber running that outside lane, while the inside, though, continuously trying to catch that front pack as they head back into turn number 1. And Terry, I think if I were this field, you mentioned the 15 of Todd Shero being really aggressive, and you're seeing a little bit more aggressiveness out of the bottom lane. He's going to try it again. This time he's going to go all the way to the outside lane. Going to be interesting to see here if they're going to ditch him right here, or if they're going to ditch the 88, but it looks like they might be going with the 15.
Yeah, that's dumb in my opinion, but the 88's obviously strong. He's faster in the center of the corner than what the 15's got. I'm glad that the 88 got down. I honestly thought if I'm the field, I'm not wanting to get pushed by the 15. And I mean, no disrespect to anybody watching him there. That's not the driver I want behind me coming to the checkered flag. Like I would be terrified if he's pushing me, because you've seen him get aggressive. You might end up sliding sideways in front of the field before it's all said and done. And you got to. A lot of these drivers have never run together. Like that's the part about charity races, is you don't know. You look at the iRating side that we see, the 07 has under 1,000 iRating. He's a 774. The highest iRating in here is a 7K. Doesn't matter, it doesn't tell you your talent skill, but it could necessarily kind of say, hey, I haven't ran a lot of races. It's more of a telltale sign of the safety rating aspect of it as well. Are you a clean racer? Do you race a lot at a clean level, or do you wreck a lot and race a lot at the same time? But right now, I mean, the 15 got to the back bumper of Clayton White. Clayton's holding on. We'll see if he's able to give him the shot. If maybe it was a TJ Bartell situation, an incident where he couldn't hold it straight. And nope, he actually almost jackknifed the 44 there. It made him wash up the racetrack. So I think we know if you want aggressive, get in front of the 15.
Yeah, and I'm sure TJ Bartell said, here, you can have my Christmas present, that being the 15 of Todd Sherrow, who's trying to push the 44 of Clayton White all the way to the front of this field right now. They're still double wide, everybody throughout this entire front row. Sherrow's going to give the push back down into turn number 1, nearly gets to the right rear quarter panel, all over the place right there through the center of the quarter as they come off turn number 2, though the 15 still all over this back bumper. Will the 44 have that car control like TJ Bartell did? They come down the back straightaway, the 15 kind of peeks out just a little bit, just like he did before, and we're going to have a 3-wide situation. This might not be good. They're 3 wide for the race lead. The 44 tried to be aggressive. The 3 had to go below the WL line, had no choice, and they're 3 wide, Terry, still for the race lead.
Yeah, 3 wide for the lead. 15 goes up high, and oh, there it goes. We're all wrecking everybody. Second on back, clobbered into the wall, and they're still wrecking the 69. Oh, man. He was sliding, and, well, I think we both knew it was coming. We just didn't want to say it. I think we knew that that one was going to occur. And second caution flag waves very impressively a lot deeper into this race than we thought.
Yeah, second caution flag of the night presented by Boomer Button Boxes. You're going to take a look here at the Nerd TV replay. And it all started right there. I don't know, Terry, if the 83 of Brandon Gagnon gave the push to Gary Clune that sent him into Clayton White, but it looks like that could possibly be what happened right there. And you see all these trucks, the 129 or the 329, I believe that is, all over one truck. There's the 9 getting collected, Dustin Sorber. Lots of drivers involved in this one. And Terry, that's really just a product of these guys all going 3 wide. And it all started coming out of turn number 2, back into turn number 3, when, you know, one driver, I believe it was the 44 of Clayton White, tried to go 3 wide and then put another driver right in the middle, and then all hell broke loose once they got to the tri-oval.
You know what this tells me, gentlemen?
What do you got?
Patience is out the window.
Patience is out the window, and there's a whole lot of fast repairs that just got burnt.
Well, that's a big key for the entire field, because how you race now is based off of that fast repair. And I think every single one of us and everybody watching that has ever been on iRacing, they know that the moment your fast repairs burn in a race with fast repairs, the patience level, you know, it skyrockets. Everybody wants to tiptoe around here into that last lap because they're out of mulligans. It's a good golf reference there. You're not getting the bailout anymore. Like, you can't just come down pit road and hit the magical, you know, switch. Now you have to be smart. You have to make methodical moves throughout that race. And that took out a lot of fast drivers that have to come down now and work their way back through this field. And they have to do it with bubble wrap on, per se. So we got some drivers staying out. 9's going to stay out. You got to have a couple other that's going to stay out here, but this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it, obviously. And, you know, that leads us probably to thanking one of our sponsors here tonight, which would be Dusty Pete's. Don't usually have a commercial for them, but always a big supporter.
Here's your commercial. He's right there, the owner.
Yeah, there he is.
On our screen.
There he is, right there. So Dusty Pete's, obviously, hobby store with a whole lot more, and they're based out of New York, and it's your one-stop shop for many things that are nerdy like us, but obviously you can't buy us because that would be illegal. And if collecting is the game, then Dusty Pete's is the name. And I got everything from figurines to action figures, collectible cards such as Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, sports cars, and die-cast replicas. Die-cast collector myself, folks. What better to do than go get yourself a nice die-cast from them for Christmas? And also, they do have comics. Big comic collector myself, and they have a ton. And, you know, it's really for anybody young and old. And if you collect any nerdy things, then visit the official hobby shop partner of Nerditudes at DustyPete's.com. And if you use code SUPERNERD, you'll save 10% off at checkout. You see that number 9 machine right there, Dustin Sorber, the man behind it all, leading right there, Terry. And you're probably, I would say, if I had to guess, your favorite scheme, because he's got the Grinch on there, because I know you now for over a year, and I tell you what, man, you are like the Grinch. But then sometimes you could be the Grinch where he has his heart grow 2 times larger, or whatever it was, obviously, because I tell you what, man, you definitely are a Grinch sometimes.
Good. That's the plan. But you see the damage on the nose there. That's going to hurt him quite a bit. I'm not sure if he knows he has that damage or not on the right front. I never claimed to be a nice guy. You know, to quote great Razor Ramon, you know, bad guys live forever, and I'll take it. This just never been a big fan of the Christmas season. It's I like people somewhat, but yeah, no, too many ads, too much wanting gifts. Want the person in your family. It's why you can't make it about what it used to be, where you go out and you have your supper with your family, and maybe it'll change this year. Obviously, having a daughter, having a kid might help wanting to like Christmas, but growing up, just never really been a big fan of it. Just once you get older and you start to not see your family as much, and you know, all that. Just I like to work on Christmas, so we'll see if we'll see if I find something to do on the 25th. If there's anybody with a show out there and want to run a Christmas thing, I'm down.
Well, that would just make you have to get away from people if you were to go work in the real world, because you say you're not really exactly a people pleaser, or at least you like people somewhat to a degree.
Somewhat.
Yeah, somewhat to a degree, but the field is coming back around turn 3 and 4. We're going to get this show back on the road, and Dustin Sorber and Jess Vaught going to be up on that top side, leading us back down to the green flag. You have Dustin Eaton, Cody Matthews, and you have Gary Clune, and Gary I'm going to butcher this name, Armijo. I think that's how you say it. Armijo.
I don't think that's how you say it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I can think about is mojito, so that's why I say that. But they're going to...
This is a charity race, you drunk.
Oh, my goodness. Well, the field's going to be coming back into the restart zone right here. And the 9 of Dustin Sorber is going to be taking them back down to the green flag right now. Gets a really good restart from the entire field right there. The 3 of... Oh, we already have a caution flag back out on the racetrack. It'll be our 3rd caution of the night. Wonder here, Terry, if there was a possible stack up in the rear. And that's not something that's too uncommon here at these super speedways.
Or maybe the admin team didn't necessarily like it too much. We'll take a look at the Nerd TV replay here, and
there it is.
Yep. Why was that a caution? Out of curiosity, they were not on the racing circuit.
Oh, there you
never
go.
mind. I say the caution. Yeah, that's a lot of impatient drivers. That's just a stack up for no reason. They were 30 feet. Who was the driver leading that pack? It was a massive gap for no reason that just stopped. And then they stopped, and then they stopped. And this whole single file line of people that had to come down the second time. Bartel gets popped. He popped somebody else. He gets popped again. And there's a... Oh, I just would have took the pit entrance there. Just not lock the tires up. Oh, it's tagged in.
Looks like everybody right there was just popping open like Christmas gifts underneath the tree when the kids are opening them up on Christmas morning. And obviously that's going to lead us to our 3rd caution of the night. Dustin Sorber, still your race leader. And again, let's just all remember why we're all here. You know, for the kids, Toys for Tots charity. You could donate right there. Donate to the cause.
Right there.
Yeah, right there.
Right
Bring out
there.
your iOS device, your Androids, take a photo, a screenshot, whatever it may be.
Let's see if it works. I'm going to scan it.
I'm sure it works because I did it earlier and I was able to get on there pretty quickly. I don't think it's nearly as quick though as some of these drivers are going around the racetrack under green flag
Maybe I'm dumb.
circumstances. But obviously, donate to the cause because that's why we're all here tonight to support the children.
Worked.
There you go. See, even Terry Radford can confirm it does
I figured
work.
it out. Oh, I'm cramping. I was trying to lean into it. That's how you know you're getting old. It's also why I don't like Christmas. It means I'm getting older. It means in 2 months I turn at a higher age. Yeah, so it works. And the cool part about it is it takes you right to the page for the Marine Corps Reserves for the Toys for Tot charity. Tells you everything about it. You can make it a reoccurring contribution monthly that helps them year-round, and you can add whatever amount you want to add down there. The second row, all the way down, you can put it in there and make a reoccurring donation monthly to that charity. Can I cue the director, the producer, without getting in trouble? Okay. Do we have a way to see how much we raised from this, or is it not tied?
Not tied through that that link right there, but we will have a running total that we will release once it's donated for this event from all the entry fees that were put in. Once that's all tabulated up and put together, so stay tuned to the Martin Sports Facebook and socials as well as Nerditudes for the total that will be donated for this event.
Well, I tell you what, the wife wants me to cut my hair. You know, I have a mullet. I'm not cutting it, right? It's not a thing. But next year, obviously, I'm sure I'll be back doing this with Jason over here, and I'll obviously keep it trim. But next year, if we can have, instead of going directly to the donation line, if we could potentially donate to one spot where we have a total, if we can get over $1,000 next year, I'll cut the mullet.
I think that you should do more than just cut them all. I think you should just shave your entire head off. But
I'm not going bald. It's too close to the race season.
If you end up cutting that hair, you can't have your buddies over at Miracleflow sending you products.
I still can.
Yeah?
That's why I said I'm not going bald. I'll keep the hair and I'll grow the mullet back out. But yeah, next year if we can potentially take it to where we centralize it to one thing, and then we keep it live on the air and we donate from the link, I'll shave the mullet off.
He'll cut his hair right here on camera.
Good news, Terry. You could shave your head and it's not going bald. Bald is the inability to grow hair. See, you would just be shaving your head.
I'm not cutting it to where it's scalp being seen. It's way too close to the race season, and you don't want to see me with no hair. I'll cut it in a military fade, like I'll cut it the way I used to have it in the Army. But which, by the way, Army beat Navy today. Get wrecked, all you sailors out there. But no, I'll cut my hair if we can get over $1,000 of donations next year, and we'll that not including the purse of the driver entries.
I will hold you to that, Mr. Radford.
It's recorded. We're live. I mean, I can't go back on it. We're kind of live. Once you hit the big red button that says we're going to it, I'll $1,000 donations.
All right, you heard it here. Next year's Ugly Sweater 250 by Main Events. If we can raise over $1,000 that will go towards donations, Terry will cut his hair.
Terry is going to cut that hair. Mark my words. I don't care if I got to go knock on neighbors' doors and tell them to donate or what. I want to see him cut
My
that
wife will probably
mullet.
donate $1,000.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she would.
Hair.
I'm sure she would. But with that being said, pace car's back in. We're back underway here from the Daytona International Speedway. Jess Vaughn leads it back down, and we have another incident, possibly believe in the back, but it looks like Dustin Eaton nearly turned the 3, I believe, when he just barely cut right in front of him. You see this field really starting to get spread out from the restart. There's the 8 of Gary Clune up at the top of the racetrack. He's got Thomas Colmexi, I believe it is. He's right behind him, pushing him down the back. And then there's Todd Shiro. He's going to try to give a push back to the top side as they work back down into turn number 3.
We just saw half of them in a wreck. I think that goes that's going unnoticed here. Majority of this top 10 was in a wreck about 10 laps ago. The 8 of Clune, we had the 69 was in that, the 15 was in it. A lot of these drivers was involved in the multi-truck incident on the front straightaway less than now 15 laps ago, and they're back up front. The unpredictability of a super speedway race as the bottom lane, very content. I think everybody that's watching on all the markets that it's being streamed to, I believe Facebook and YouTube. Not sure where the other streams are at. I'm sure Dustin will tell me at some point in my ear.
Just Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, so I was right. The bottom lane very content. That outside lane's getting a little bit too big for their britches. Starting to get a little pushy. You see, which I guess you can mention there with the 69. You see the TWRS stuff on there. They're doing some giveaways of some sort. Jason, you could allude a little bit more to what the Team Watson guys are giving out.
Yeah, so tonight, obviously, the payouts going to the top 4 drivers here tonight. First place gets $100 and a Martin Sports custom-made event flag for tonight and a prize choice of theirs. And obviously the same for most of the rest of the field. But iRacing iFlag's got a unit they're giving away to one of their drivers who obviously finishes in the top 4. Boomer Button Box is doing the same. TWRS doing a 3-month subscription to many in all of their setups over there on the Team Watson Racing setup shop. And obviously, one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, God bless you, Scott Martin, the Martin Sports gloves. They're comfortable, they're breathable, and they're the best dang sim racing gloves on the market. Mark my words, we all have a pair, comfortable. I love wearing them. And I'm probably going to wear them more than likely when I go go-karting probably here pretty soon for sure, because I don't have my Alpine Star gloves anymore. So I got to use my Martin Sport gloves. And I'll tell you what, I feel a lot better with them than I did Alpine Stars. So there you go. Like you said, Terry, earlier from the Army-Navy game. Get wrecked, Alpine Stars. Martin Sports has taken over. But look at this battle going up at the front right here. Get wrecked. Gary Clune, he's getting a really good push from the top side from Thomas in the 69 machine. They're really starting to haul the mail up at the top side here, Terry.
So I have to inject real quick. So this piggybacks off what you said, Terry. We've had one, I got to thank everybody that's watching live on any of the streaming medias that's out there, and everybody that is chatting. You guys are lighting the chats up. I love it. That's another reason why we put this on, is so that we can meet and talk with new people for a great cause as well. The head nerd in charge, my lovely wife, said that she had better start saving right now for next year because she wants to see that hair of yours cut. And she bettered that and said that if we can raise $1,500 for donation next year, she will shave her head live on air.
Okay, I like that. We'll I'll do my beard if we get to 15 too. I'll keep growing the beard. I'll keep it trimmed. I'll keep it for a year, and if we get to 15, not only will I shave, I'll cut my hair. I won't shave it completely off, but I will cut my hair down. Take the mullet off. I'll shave my beard as well. But to talk about the Martin Sports gloves, and appreciate everything that Scott does for the community. All 323 starts that I've had on iRacing on this service, I have worn the same pair of Martin Sports gloves, and they still have not torn up. They're actually still very durable. You can still feel comfortable in them. They're not stiff. They're perfect. I have 3 additional sets that sit in here that I just look at. I just don't want to get them dirty. I just put them on my steering wheel, and I look at them and go, I'm gonna wear them one day. I never have. I've just wore the red, white, and blue ones, and all 13 wins and 24 poles have come with the Martin Sports gloves on. I just feel more. I'm like you, Jason. I feel more just relaxed in those gloves. Like, my hands feel comfortable. I'm able to grip the wheel a little bit better. I'm able to drive just a little bit easier with those gloves on. I'm sure the driver that wins this one, if they don't have a pair of Martin Sports gloves on their hands, they're really going to be impressed. Not only can they get the win without the gloves on, they can get even more wins with the breathable gloves, or the iRace and iFlag guy, old Jeff over there. He'll love to send one out to somebody.
Yeah, and I'm sure, no doubt about it. And you see this field right here up at the front. Gary Clune has finally gotten to the right side of Jess Fought for the race lead, as we're just now at 40 laps to go in tonight's event. They're still side by side, and they're getting a little bit aggressive. Terry, you just mentioned the word dirty, man. These guys are going to have to be driving dirty pretty soon here, because it's getting close to crunch time. This is almost a little bit over what usually a C-fixed official race is here at Daytona, usually around 30 to 35 laps. And that's not a lot of time. You think about it. You have to make sure that you can get up towards the front. And if you're anybody in those first 3 rows, you're sitting pretty. But if you're a driver like, for example, maybe a Ryan Chapman, a Richie Coy, a Clayton White, you have to drive up through the field. But you have to be really careful about doing it. We've already seen a few wrecks here tonight, and you don't want to be involved in another one for sure.
No, you definitely don't. I mean, 62 of the laps have been completed out of the 100. You got a couple drivers in here that already have used the fast repair. We talked about this one early on at the lap 30 caution, that if you use the fast repair now, it's going to change how you race. I don't think Jess Fought has used his. Dustin Eaton has not used his, so they're going to be a little bit more aggressive. You see the pushing that is coming there. I'm not even sure if the 15 of Todd Sherrow had to use his with a little bit of contact he made with the push that was happening there on the first multi-truck incident that we saw of the night. But unfortunately for most of the field, TJ Bartell, I'm sure he used his. Justin Mills, Clayton White, Aubrey Thompson, Alan Duranco, those drivers back there in that mid-pack, they have definitely had to use it at some point in time. So now their drive through the field is not as easy as it would be as somebody that can go up there with their hair lit on fire. My style, Dustin, my style of driving through Daytona or Talladega.
Yeah, and so far you're seeing a lot of these guys in the back really trying to be cautious, that have already had to use that fast repair, but some of them really want to get to the front as quickly as possible. Like we had just mentioned, you see this top lane kind of starting to fade away just a little bit. Maybe some damage on that number 8 machine of Gary Clune that's hindering the progress of that top side. Maybe they're just not formulated as well. You see the bottom side, though, starting to get a little antsy. There goes Brandon Gagnon. He jumps down to the bottom of the racetrack as we ride on board Larry McDonald. He is nearly to that outside line. And Terry, if you're one of these drivers, maybe like a Larry McDonald, do you jump up to the top side to lead the train thinking you could do a better job?
No. No. If you think of Larry McDonald's race so far, he started on the pole. He's sitting kind of further back than what I think that the 80 wanted to be. He lost his drafting partner as well. You got to think, when we initially started this race, him and Andrew Navarro were like peanut butter and jelly. They were inseparable. You didn't see the 80 of McDonald without seeing Navarro. They're now separated. Keys of the race. Go back to that one if you were watching on lap 1. The key to this race, find a dancing partner. There has not been a whole lot of people that have found their dancing partner to the end. They're kind of throwing caution to the wind. They'll find the dancing partner when they find them. The top line on your second one, it has kind of played to fruition, but it really hasn't done a whole lot. We've already seen the big one. Damn near everybody swept up in it. Nobody avoided it. They didn't listen to us. And it all started because they pushed the pusher. So all the keys to victory in the Ugly Sweater 250, we have done and broke every one of them. Now, the only one we hadn't missed yet is finding your dancing partner, because, well, once we get to one lap to go, then you'll really find that dancing partner, and that'll be the person that pushes you to victory lane.
And that's something, obviously, you want to make sure that you have here on these super speedways when it comes down to the end. Obviously, I think back to the Fed Custom PC Wild Wednesday Money Series. You see Andrew Navarro and Daniel Eberhardt usually working together consistently week in and week out every single week that they race that series. And you're seeing a couple drivers getting a little antsy, some wanting to go to the top, some wanting to go to the bottom. Here comes Todd Sharrow, third in line up on the top side, thought about peeking to the outside like he's been doing a majority of the race. The three have just bought, jump back down to the bottom, and just like that, with a little bit of surge of momentum from the top lane, they're right back at him for the race lead as they head back into turn number 1.
I like how the wife jumps into the chat and says, shave the mullet. All right, Harley's out there bidding heavily.
I was going to point that
shaved.
out too, but I was trying to find the
she
right
was
time
very
to cut
quick.
it in to say the missus has spoken.
Yeah, she's very quick on the mullet. We actually had the discussion today in the group chat with my family where I took the picture and the mullet was waving, and she said, you need to shave that. And I said to her personally, I said, it's not my fault that you don't like the mullet. I think it's a good look, but be a good cause. You know, we'll go a year with it, and then next year, if we can put this charity race on a bigger pedestal, we'll get people to come in, and I might have have Phil for Miracle Flow jump in and support the cause. He'll understand. Caution flag number 4 though will wave on here. Brought to you by Boomer Button Box and iRacing iFlags for all of their wonderful work with telling me that there's a caution flag.
Yeah, I noticed right there, Terry, when we were talking and stuff like that. Notice Richie Coy, a few other drivers as well, really started going down the pylon at a very, very fast rate of speed. And it looks like it was going to involve the 19 of Richie Coy. Going to take a look back at the replay here. Oh, and that's not something you want to have.
Well, hello there. There's a hood.
There is a hood, and there's also a radiator exposed, and the engine, and everything about that truck is pretty much destroyed, and hopefully that driver has a fast repair. More than likely not, though, because we've seen a few big wrecks, and that's the number 2 machine, I believe. That's Alan Duranko. Yeah, here we go. Down the front straightaway into the tri-oval. It looks like right here, I believe this 2 machine, Terry, is going to start to come up. I'm noticing kind of drift up that bottom lane. Maybe Richie got into it. We're going to see if we can get another replay on it.
The
Hard
2
to tell.
came up. They came together. I think they both wanted the same thing. One wanted to be in the outside lane and the other wanted to be in the inside lane.
And here it is, right down to the tri-oval. And
they're
Richie,
both coming down.
Yeah, they're both coming down. Richie comes down just a slight bit, and then the 2 just comes right up and a hard impact right into the outside wall, tears off the complete front bumper of Duranko. He's going to lose his hood just here in a second. There it goes, sliding off into the wind like a feather on Christmas Eve. And then you see the 2 of Duranko just completely rim-riding the outside lane. And really a good job by the rest of the field there, Terry, to not get involved, because that was a wreck that probably could have taken out a majority of the back half of that field.
You must watch a lot of Hallmark Christmas movies.
No, that's not true.
Do I
look like a guy that watches cable, buddy? Come on.
Look, man, there's apps nowadays.
That's
you
true.
just said a feather in the wind on Christmas Eve, and that's the entire plot for any Christmas movie on Hallmark. Small town or big city girl comes back to a small town, the feather flies, and that's when he knows she's going to find true love. Whether or not you want to admit it, go watch 3 Hallmark movies. They're all the same damn plot, and there's always a feather flying in the air. I think you've been watching Hallmark Christmas movies and eating ice cream all day.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think I've been watching my usual nerdy movies like The Departed and Blade Runner and stuff like that. I don't think I've been watching many Hallmark movies. You can say what you want. I
can tell you who has been, though, has been Mr. Radford, because he just explained everything.
You just explained the whole damn thing to us. How do we know that you're not the culprit of watching Hallmark movies around this time? You said you hated Christmas, and you're explaining the entire Hallmark Christmas movie scenario.
Twist.
Hopefully my foster mom is still watching. Phyllis, if you're still out there in the chat. The reason I know this is because my foster dad, Randy, is a massive Hallmark guy. And I'm going to put him completely on the spot. She'll comment in the chat here in a second. That man could probably watch Hallmark movies every single day. and he thinks they're funny. It's they're both super Christian, and they go to church every Sunday and Wednesday and Bible studies and all that. And I was shocked when I found out what his favorite Christmas movie is of all time. It's Christmas Vacation. And if you watch, the unrated version of it, it is, that's his favorite Christmas movie. Then the story goes is my foster brother Ray, he obviously got married and went on. Well, they are all friends, so you got that group, that side of the family, and my side of the family are close, and they took him to the movie theater to watch that movie. And Randy didn't realize that they were going to watch the unrated version of Christmas Vacation in the theater. And they got the nastiest looks. It's like, really? This is your favorite movie? Like, you went to church on Sunday night you're watching an R-rated movie of Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. But maybe she's still out there in the chat. It's Randy. I blame him. It's Randy's fault.
I don't blame him one bit, because Christmas Vacation is a fantastic.
No, I'm talking about the Hallmark movies. Oh, the Hallmark movies is all Randy's fault of why I know the plot, and my wife's. She actually she's watching a Lifetime movie now, I do believe.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
Yeah. So she made me download. She made me download.
No, she's not. She's watching the stream.
No, she's watching it on her phone on the TV. I just opened my door and I'm looking at her. I guarantee you she has the Lifetime movie on that she heard on a podcast, made me find the app to sign into the TV provider. So then she could watch the Lifetime movie what's the podcaster, Harley? Jana Kramer. So Jana Kramer said, watch this movie tonight on Lifetime at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is, what's it, Christmas and what? A Christmas Cowboy. And the Lifetime movie is just the same as a Hallmark movie. And if she had her way, boys, that damn Christmas tree would be up November 2nd on her birthday.
Oh my!
The day, or probably the day after Halloween. But if I had my way, we wouldn't put the damn thing up at all.
Oh my gosh, Terry doesn't like Hallmark movies. He doesn't like this. He doesn't like that. Hey, it's all right. My mother used to watch Lifetime movies all the time, so
television
I'm very
for
familiar.
women.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. I always told
my mom does too.
I told her, I said, stop watching the damn Lifetime movies and get a life. But here we are. We're back at it. Mom, I love you. We're going to get
banned here in a second.
Oh, Mom, I love you. But hey, here we go. We're going back racing here under the green flag. And it looks like Jess Vaught is going to get out to a comfortable lead. But the 14 of Dustin Eaton right next to him, side by side. They get out about 2 or 3 truck lengths here, Terry, as they get back down into turn number 1. This 8 of Gary Clune, and up on the outside, Cody Matthews. They're going to come with a head of steam here, right to the back bumper of these 2 drivers out of 2.
Yeah, go time starting to come into fruition here. We began the discussion about what people were watching. Scott's better half is watching Three's Company and the stream at the same time. So multitasking can be done. Just like picking the lane you want. Jess Vaught goes down to the race lead in front of Gary Clune. And now that outside lane's starting to make some headway. They're starting to go up to that outside, make some room 3 wide. There goes Navarro. I'd follow that guy anywhere.
I would too, for sure. Andrew Navarro knows his way around a super speedway, and he's bringing the number 38 of Aubrey Thompson. Oh, whoa, and there they go around in turn number 1. Navarro loses it. One of the drivers, I believe it was Cody Matthews, got really loose, got up into Navarro, and with that being said, calamity unfolds. Terry going through turns 1 and 2.
That happens on them big jobs. When you try to take it 3 wide, that's unfortunate, because you would have imagined that you could hold it. I mean, I can't believe that. I'm not surprised, but I'm a little, kind of annoyed at that one, because it's go time. You need to take it 3 wide at some point. Like, you need to be able to make the pass happen. And a lot of people don't like 3 wide here, and I don't know why. You got a lot of good opportunities to make it 3 wide.
Yeah,
Now all
and
of a sudden we won't.
it really all started too when Cody Matthews, like I mentioned there, Terry, he got really loose there in the middle lane. I don't know if he just felt very uncomfortable being in that middle lane, because a lot of drivers typically do. If you don't like running that middle line, it's not really your cup of tea. A track like Talladega, you can usually hold that middle lane pretty steady because of how wide the track is. And obviously, we take a look back here at the replay, going to do that little VHS rewind that me and
I
Journey
love
usually
it.
call it. And watch this right here. So the 10, and it looks like the 8 kind of came up the track, and I think the 10 wanted to stay off of him and probably just came right up, tagged the 42 Premier
Oh, that's
Racing setup
netcode.
shop, and then right there goes right up into the 42, and then everybody gets involved in this. And I wonder if Aubrey Thompson was fully collected in this, and it looks like, watch this 38. I want to see if he gets involved right here. He's digging. He's going. I think he's going to get killed right here probably, but we're about to find out. Oh, yeah, he's done. Sayonara. There he goes. Right into the wall and collects another driver. Oh, that's a big hit for Aubrey Thompson.
There's your pole sitter barely squeaking through this. If you're Larry McDonald, I don't know how you made it through that. He got nothing in that McDonald's machine. I mean, absolutely stayed the course. Look at him here. He sees all the calamity going on in front of him. Drivers going down to the apron, swinging back up the racetrack. Nobody necessarily attempting to slow down. And then maybe got a little bit of contact right there with the 38, but nothing too crazy. Continued on about his day like nothing happened. And look at the carnage behind him. There's trucks everywhere. That probably had to be
15, 20 trucks.
Yeah, but that had to be the craziest wreck I think I've ever seen here. And I would say I'm up in the 50s of races called at plate tracks, and I had never seen that, because the truck went to the middle and then went to the bottom, kind of side drafted, and then shot back up the racetrack and then shot back down before the 42 ever got turned. I'm not sure if if the 42 had a issue and then just lost it, but that it just wiped out. I mean, 19th on back, 21st on back. Now we got 20 trucks still on the track. We get 21st on back is probably on pit lane.
Yeah, and we're taking a look right here at this middle line. You're going to see this 8 kind of come up, and then the 10 machine just jolts, and then the 42 just really gets sideways right about here, and all of a sudden just goes right around off the bumper of Aubrey Thompson, right in front of that 10 of, I believe that's Cody Matthews. There's the 88 TJ Bartell involved, the 133 of Gerard McKee. He's involved as well. And look at this back half of the field, Terry, just trying to slow it down and then pretty much arc a break right into the wreck while everybody's trying to get slowed down right there. There's Brandon Gagnon. He's involved again. More trucks being collected as everybody's trying to come to a halt. And I would imagine that we're not going to have a lot of trucks that are going to have a clean-looking paint scheme when we come back down to this restart.
Well, Cartoon Lovers 422 on the YouTube said the real reason the ice cream machines are broken are because all the money and work and parts were given to Larry's car. It's untouchable. If you're a fan of McDonald's, I think we now know the answer, exactly why those ice cream machines don't ever want to work for us. And it's so convenient. When you don't want an ice cream, they work. But when you're really craving that McDonald's ice cream, for some reason, they're always broke. It's the darndest thing in the world.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I tell you what, we all know now to blame Larry McDonald whenever
I'm blaming him. I'm writing this down.
We do not get ice cream, McFlurries, shakes, whatever it may be. Oh, sorry, our ice cream machine is broken. Yeah, you can thank Larry McDonald for that one.
But you know what's never broken? The fountain for the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Bam, plug 2 in there, baby. It's never broke.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever broke on probably ad reads probably in your head. You probably sleep, not counting sheep, but reading ad reads to yourself while you go to bed. And if I were Harley, I'd probably have to stop you in the middle of the night because you're sitting there saying, "Oh, Coca-Cola zero sugar. No, it's a
No,
Premier."
I wake up talking about if you head over to martinsports906.com, you can find all of the great apparel for racing. And if you see the pace car pulling down and in, you can grab the top quality apparel to make your stylish look. You can see all the whole apparel line at martinsports.gg. Now, they have changed it on me in promo code SUPERNERD, since it is the official apparel partner of Nerditudes, as Jess Vaught holds out the lead on Gary Clune.
Yeah, and back into turns 1 and 2. This 8 of Gary Clune, though, has a surge of momentum with the McDonald's machine, and right back behind him, he has Clayton White involved in one of those earlier incidents, Terry. A lot of these guys are really getting shaken up right now. Down the back straightaway, back into 3. Clune's going to take the race lead away, and the top 3 up on the top side are really pushing the heck out of one another as they head back to 3 and 4. They're still neck and neck, coming to 23 laps to go.
Well, the thing we don't want to see now is an I-race and I-flag caution to be waived here. That would probably eliminate these drivers, whoever's involved in that caution flag, their race is over. 23 laps to go. Now it's Gary Clune takes the lead on the outside. The pole sitter of the 80 of Larry McDonald in the McDonald's machine will be out there. So we will see who's able to come with this one. The 19 of Richie Coy up 6, a lot of shaking and driving. The 74 of Scott Schroeder, the 44 of Clayton White, both are inside the top 10 and are the biggest movers, 26 and 22 positions respectively for the 4th and 5th place driver. One's on the outside, one's on the inside. We're going to see who can take it as Clune goes to the bottom. McDonald, your pole sitter, to the outside, 22 to go.
And here comes Andrew Navarro. You see him coming up on that top lane, trying to do and replicate what he did just a handful of laps ago before he got wrecked. He's got help right behind him from, I believe, that's the 27 machine, or the 72 actually, of Bladen Edwards right now. The Chevy and Toyota duo trying to get to the front. They have the side draft help that they have, obviously coming from when they're side drafting the trucks right in the middle lane, but as they file out down the back straightaway, they're going to be 3 wide back here between this number 2 truck, the 69 machine as well, of Thomas Coleman, Maxey, and then the 42 of Andrew Navarro putting it up at the top, and more trucks trying to join the party as well.
Got to calm down here. They're starting to get a little antsy there. 3 wide from about the 4th or 5th row back. 2 by 2 by 3 by 3 they go down the front straightaway into turns 1 and 2. You see the 329 down there on the bottom. He's got a mirror full of the 2. You see the top 2 trucks up there all by their lonesome, trying to work it. That's Bladen Edwards. That's Andrew Navarro trying to make that 3rd lane work. They'll get the toe down the back straightaway. Drivers are going to juke and drive down the back, and kind of pinched him a little bit up against the wall. Navarro checked up. I believe that's the 39. That's going to work his way up there into that spot. Not necessarily. That's Richie Coy that works his way up there. And there it goes. The big one, number 2. They're wrecking. There goes the pole sitter. And Bladen got popped.
Hard impact for a lot of these drivers. Somebody's ARCA braking, and somehow they make it through. There's the 15 machine involved as well. The 2 of Alan Duranco. There's the 74 machine on your screen as well. Lots of drivers involved yet again as they were heading back to the Tri-Oval. And Terry, we talked about how it was crunch time, man. And everybody just had to mind their own P's and Q's, be patient, but at the same time, do it in a fashionable manner. And there we go, right there. You see a couple drivers getting collected. That's the 99 machine. I believe that's JP Burns. He was involved as well, and he really all started that. This really came out of turn number 4. Big surge of momentum up on the top side, and he might have gotten a little bit of a bad push right here. Maybe this 44 machine came up and then just really halted the run.
You see it there. I mean, I don't think he necessarily got a shove. I think the 99 went to go push and then backed out of it, and for the 80 of McDonald, he just slid in the infield. I don't think he got a whole lot of hits. He just made it save the 84. The 19 didn't really cause a lot of damage. I mean, you see the 80 just sliding along. A lot of other drivers were able to go through there. There's the 99. He works his way through it. And, oh, no, the 80 got hit. But I think he's still good. I honestly think he's still content in this race. Everybody else really avoided him. They should still be good. Just very, very unfortunate for a lot of these drivers that necessarily did not need that. I mean, I said it before. You didn't need to see an I race and I flag caution. And there it goes. Caution flag waves.
Yeah, and right there you see Jeff Acevedo on the bottom side. He just barely squeaks by as well. Gives a little bit of a tap to one of those Nerditudes machines up there on the bottom side of the racetrack that were sliding through the grass. You see the 38 Aubrey Thompson gets by. There's Brandon Gagnon, had to slow it down. A lot of trucks, mainly in that front pack. And Terry, when you come to a super speedway, you know, a lot of people usually say, oh, the wrecks can happen anywhere. And some people kind of underestimate that, I think, because a lot of drivers try to stay in the back, and a lot of guys want to try to stay up at the front because they think, from what I've, you know, been known and told throughout my iRacing career, oh, try to stay up at the front. You're going to be the safest there. No, that's a lie. Nobody is safe when you come to these super speedway races. You could have a wreck for last. You could have a wreck for the race lead, the middle of the pack. It doesn't matter where you are. These wrecks are right around every corner, and they could play a factor into everybody's race.
Hey, I got to inject real quick, too. I just got a message. We want to give a personal thanks out to Airman Jacob White for his donation of $50 using the QR code towards Toys for Tots for this event. So thank you very much, Airman Jacob White.
Heck yeah.
There you go.
Appreciate that.
All for the kids.
All for the kids. The thing about the wrecks, you're not giving up. At this moment, if you have a little bit of damage, you're sending it. Like, even if you just have a small amount of damage, you're still sending. We have 19 cars still on the lead lap. So regardless of what you think, you are still sending this. You're not backing out of this race just because you don't have the fast repair left. You're fixing whatever you can fix, and then you'll come back out here and try to run the final little bit of laps.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. Obviously, as the field's going to get racked up and stacked up one more time here, maybe possibly the last time we'll see this pace car leading this field. But Terry, I have a feeling we are not done wrecking yet, and I know that's a common commentator thing to say for us up here in the booth, but that's just honestly the God honest truth when you come to these super speedways. You think it's going to be over, but you never know. You could have a wreck again for the front half of the field that'll take out half these trucks. You could have a wreck in the back. It doesn't matter where you are. There seems to always be one more wreck lying around every corner here, and nobody's safe, just like we talked about.
Yeah, no, you're not safe, regardless if you're in the lead, if you're in second, if you're in 15th, if you're in 20th. You're not safe at all here in this one. You know, or if you have me behind you, especially coming to the white flag, it's game over. I'm wrecking you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I tell you what, after tonight's race, some of these drivers should definitely probably go over to the Team Watson Racing setup shop to go and partner up with them and see if they can get one of those fast setups, obviously. And they are the leading name in quality, affordability, and professionalism, with a staff of decorated, distinguished, and dedicated setup builders. Team Watson Racing Setups delivers top-notch race and championship-winning setups to the iRacing garages of drivers across the simulation community. And obviously, you can go check them out for a full list of services at teamwatsonracing.com. And I'm sure some of those guys are probably going to go over there. They have some pretty quick official setups that you can run, obviously, whether it be a league or open stuff. But with that being said, Terry, we're about to get ready to go back to the restart here. A few drivers looks like pulling into pit road, but Gary Clune, Jess Vaught, going to lead them back down to the restart. Little bit of a wheel spin right there out of the 8 machine, stacked up the bottom, and this outside lane is shooting out a little farther than that bottom lane did. Now Jess Vaught, he'll move down to the bottom. Andrew Navarro has clear racetrack. up in front of him, and he's going to try to get a push here from David Feet as they come into turn number 2.
I don't think the bottom lane was necessarily ready to go. As you see, don't push the pusher. We almost did it there. 3 wide. We take it down the back straightaway, but a lot of those drivers were not ready for the restart, and the 8 was not ready at all.
Was not ready at all, no doubt about it. Here it comes. Oh, there we go. One truck through the infield. That's Jared McKee in the number 133 truck. We stay green, though, hopping over the infield grass. We will stay green, and back up at the front, Clayton White has made his way back down to the bottom of the racetrack with help from Albert Anderson as they hit the line now. 15 laps to go here from the World Center of Racing. They're 3 by 3 for the race lead back into 1.
Still drag racing there into turns 1 and 2. Navarro pushing that second lane. He started second. He's trying to push the 3 right now of Jess Vaughn to the race lead, potentially to the race win. As Clayton White on the bottom of 28 positions from where he initially started in that 30th position. It doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish. If you're the 44, you want to finish first. They'll come to 15 laps to go as they work their way to turns 3 and 4 to the pit lane entrance they go, and you see it there. 2 by 2 all the way back to 14th. All the way back to 15th, 16th on back, starting to fade away from our field in the front.
Yeah, and still double wide. Like you mentioned, Terry, 2 separate packs now. One up at the front going double wide. The other one's back there trying to get formed up together. Navarro's going to give a great push to Vaught down the back straightaway with help from Feet as they reach turn number 3. A little bit of side drafting going on from Clayton White trying to put the pressure on Navarro, but the 3 of Jess Vaught going to stick with Navarro as they head back to 3 and 4, coming to 14 to go.
You don't want to leave the driver that got you to the front. That puts a sour taste in somebody's mouth, especially in the later moments of one of these races. Any driver that's watching, any person that's out there in the chat that has been in one of these races, that has ran a plate track on iRacing, whether it's Daytona, Talladega, does not matter. If you leave your partner, right now, guess what? If you pull up in front of them with 1 lap to go, 2 laps to go, they're going to send you. And they don't care at this moment. Like, you are full sends ahead. You're not lifting for them to give them the room to get into the racing surface. You're taking them 3 wide. You're going to shoot them down the middle and make them have to find somebody else. And the 3, smart to stay with the 42. The 3, smart to stay right there with the 329. All of these drivers at this very moment, if you're in the first 3 rows, found your partner. You have found the driver that is potentially going to take you to a victory here in the Ugly Sweater 250 to support the Toys for Tots charity. And there we go. We're bobbing and weaving again. They're starting to formulate the moves in their head. My personal one, Jason, I think the catbird seat's going to be that 83 right there. I think Brandon Gagnon is going to be the one that pulls out of here. Victor Lane is 3 wide behind him.
Yeah, 3 wide. Andrew Navarro jumped up to the top side with Aubrey Thompson. They're going to try to go to the race lead, in which they will. Along with them, you have other drivers, Richard Elliott, others trying to get set up. 3 wide back in the middle of this pack. The 3 leading just a couple of seconds ago. Back now to the 5th spot as they're back to 2 wide. Back into 1 and 2 now. Navarro getting a great push from Thompson. Nearly set him around and up on the top side. Here comes the 72 of Blaine Edwards. Has help from behind. And they're 3 wide there for the 6th spot. Little bit of contact made. Here comes the 3 of Vaughn. He's going to stick it below there. He's loose. Will he save it? Contact made. And they're going to save it. What in the world?
How did they save that?
That should have been wreck number 7 million right there, but it wasn't coming off 4.
Yeah, look at the race lead. Aubrey Thompson had it for a second. Bladen Edwards took it. Now we're 3 wide for the race lead. Bladen tried to pinch up a little bit on Justin Mills. Justin's still not going to get it at all there. Here comes David. Here comes David Fiat. How did he get the lead in the one machine? And oh, now we're starting to wreck. the aid of Clune. He gets turned and stack them up again, because we're going to have another caution flag, and that is number 7. As the 19's involved, the 15's involved. A lot of big ones, and oh, well, let's see if the chaos can ensue once more.
Yeah, and Richie Coy just cannot catch a break either tonight. One of those decorated drivers here from our side of things over at Nerd TV. We've seen him do a lot. You see him try to get to the bottom right here, but eventually he's just going to get tagged right here, right in the right rear quarter panel, sends him around right up into the Bucky Silverado. And there's a lot of wrecking going on down this back straightaway. The 15 around again. That's Todd Sherrow, and then a lot of guys trying to avoid it. And Terry, you had to think something was going to happen. We talked about how we didn't know if we were done wrecking, and we probably both knew in our heads that they weren't. Sure enough, they agreed with us in our heads, and we ended up having a wreck coming out of turn number 2. There goes a bumper cover, and really it all started with a lot of these guys just getting really, kind of discombobulated coming off turn number 4, and then it led all the way to turn number 2.
Yeah, I think we were ready. We were ready to see the wreck. I think everybody knew it was going to come at some point. After the initial checkup we saw 2 laps ago, and now here, luck doesn't strike twice. And unfortunately for the drivers here in this incident, it did not. It all started with just a checkup and getting pushed and getting shoved out of the way, and now we'll rack them and stack them. We'll see if we can try this once more. Maybe we can go green to the end. We're 7 cautions in, and I honestly thought we would have in the double digits. So, guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we're about to find out. And now we have really a new race leader up at the front of this field. David Feet, the only Toyota inside this top 5. You have Toyota, Chevy. Guess what? Another Chevy. Then a Toyota. Then another Chevy, and another Toyota. No Fords up until you get back to. That would be Kyle Westwood in the 17th spot, and then Richie Coy up in 19th. Not a lot of Fords here, so it's a lot of Chevy versus Toyotas here tonight. And there's your top 10 right on the right of your screen. Feet, Mills, Gagnon, Thompson, Edwards, Vaught, Navarro, Elliott, White, and Anderson. And Terry, I'm going to mention this to you because I always like doing this, because it's like gambling without money, obviously. I mean, unless you want to put some money on it. I mean, that's up to you, buddy. I'm always down for that. But who do you think has the best shot to win this inaugural race here tonight? We've seen a couple comers and goers. We've seen Aubrey Thompson at the front. We've seen Brandon Gagnon in the mix earlier on. He's back up at the front. Jess Vaught has been up there all night long pretty much. And then there's a lot of guys up inside the top 10 and even outside the top 10 who are really strong at the plate tracks.
I told you who I thought was going to win it. I told you. The driver that's going to win this race is sitting right now in that 3rd place position, that 83. I think the 83's got it. I like Brandon's chance in this one. Where he's sitting, he can control his own destiny. The leader is Fight. We misspoke on that one, but it is. I think personally, I think the 3's got it. I think the 83 driver in 3rd is going to take the win.
I'm going to go one spot lower than you. I think Aubrey Thompson's going to go to victory lane, and this is why. You look back, obviously, I've mentioned it a few times tonight, but that FEG Custom PC series that's run on Wednesday nights at Daytona and Talladega only, Aubrey Thompson has been right there in the mix in that series all season long, yet to get to victory lane. He's right here sitting in 4th, and he's been really a driver up in the mix all night long. He's kind of faded back with Andrew Navarro and others as well. Now he finds himself up there, and he's got a couple guys, more than a couple guys around him who are probably willing to work with him. Your guy, Brandon Gagnon, Bladen Edwards is really good as well, Andrew Navarro. There's a few guys up there that could probably push this 38 here to victory lane, if I had to say so myself. He's going to be lining up right there on the outside. But we're going to see what happens here. It's going to be Fight, Mills, Gagnon, Thompson, Edwards, and Vaught, your first 3 rows. And it's going to get interesting, Terry. I don't really know what line is going to be the best. We saw the inside lane stack up a couple times on these restarts. We've seen drivers get out way ahead. It's just really unpredictable when you come to these plate tracks of how a restart really could go, besides the field catching up to you because of the draft.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to. We're really gonna have to see how aggressive the top 10 gets. You think you got Fight, Mills, Gagnon, Thompson, Edwards, Vaught, Navarro, Elliott, White, and Anderson. Your top 10 as we come to take the green flag here. The aggression level has to pick up even more. You're not going to win this race. I'll say it, being a coward. You have to take a risk. You have to go up there and make it 3 wide. Every time we've seen 3 wide, Jason, what have we seen that followed it? A wreck. Who's going to go up there and take it 3 wide actually work to win this race? We've had 100 laps. We don't have very many more in the bank to spare. So with 26 now drivers on the lead lap, about 19 of them have a chance to win still.
Remember, if necessary, too, we have those 6 attempts at an overtime finish, or what for all you old-timers know is a green-white checkered. We'll have to see if we use up all of them, or at least some of them. As they come back down to the Geico restart zone, Fight and Mills going to lead him back down through the restart zone, fire out of it, and Fight gets a little bit of a tire spin on the inside lane. He's got help from Gagnon up on the bottom, but Aubrey Thompson trying his best to push Justin Mills, and Navarro moves up to the top side. It's going to be probably a dead heat once they get back down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and remember what I said? The 83 is the one that goes here and is going to control us. Oh, he got a little loose there. They're starting to push the pusher. Remember, we talked about that a lot earlier. Don't push the pusher. Gotta get to the mindset here. You're not going to win this race from the 3rd lane. You have to let the top 2 really dictate who's going to win this one. If they push, that's good. That's a good back bumper. Go on board with the 83. But now look at Mills. Mills is going to take that race lead just for a little bit. Thompson pushed. Mills pulls down. Now it's time for Gagnon to pull off that back bumper a Fight, and he does. He'll back off. He'll get on it again. He'll push him even harder. 6 laps to go. We'll have 5 when we cut to the start-finish line.
Gloves are off. It doesn't matter. You got to push the pusher no matter what. And Fight nearly gets shoved out of line. Almost creates a wreck from the help of Brandon Gagnon as they come back down the back straightaway. And Aubrey Thompson goes to the lead. He'll jump down to the bottom right in front of Justin Mills. Back to 3 and 4. Navarro's going to lead the top side. And look at JP Burns trying to make that 3rd lane work up at the top of the racetrack. Will anybody go with him? Vaught moves up to the top. Navarro split in the middle. 5 laps to go from the World Center of Racing with Aubrey Thompson leading the charge back to 1.
Well, either all hell's going to break loose or we're going to complete this under the green flag. As you see, 3 wide, 2 currently at this moment. They're starting to single file back out there, but the middle lane's starting to get a little bit more organized than what that bottom lane is. You see 3 trucks down there. One's trying to go up to the outside lane, couldn't make it work. There goes the 83. He'll jump up in front of Edwards. He'll jump up in front of the 42 in Navarro, having to block that 3rd lane as well. 3 versus 5 versus 5. It's literally a 3 wide battle for the moment. For the 5th place position, can they make that work up to that 2nd groove to get to the outside of the leader? They will in the middle lane. 4 to go. Now 3 3/4 of a lap will separate who wins this race. There's the 3 of Gloon. He's up there as well. There is pandemonium that's about to break loose as, oh, they're stacking up. Big check up in the middle of the field.
Stacking up big time. They're 3 by 3 by 3 for several rows deep. Brandon Gagnon leading the charge back to 3 and 4. He's got help from Blaine Edwards back behind him, while the 3 of Vaught still trying to work to the top side. He has Dustin Eaton on his back bumper. Gagnon for a second thinking about going to the bottom. He'll stay in the middle, this time by 3 laps to go, and Edwards just barely cut right down across the 38th bumper. Navarro trying to shoot through the middle. They're almost 4 wide. Around goes Gagnon. Vaught, big crash going back down the front straightaway, and a lot of the main competitors up at the front battling for the win, taken out in a wreck with just under 4 to go.
Richard Elliott is scored your race leader in the 202. We have not talked about him all race long. He has minded his own business and just sit there. Aubrey Thompson is slotted in second currently, but it all started with a bad move right here. Once you hit play, you're going to see the 14 down here is going to try to go 3 wide there. Once he got down to this point, he did not have the move. Navarro clips him around. Everybody else goes. And then hard into the wall was my pick to win. And that should be race over for the driver of the 83, as I believe the fast repair was used. But look at the move down there from the 202 of Richard Elliott to skate through that wreck and not get caught up into anything. Now puts him in the race lead +9. Started 10th, Jason. He's leading. When we'll have a green-white checkered authentically, I believe, here at the World Center of Racing.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out. A lot of these drivers that are still up at the front of this field, while they caught the pace car, a lot of these guys got involved, obviously. Andrew Navarro had some contact on the front of that machine. And you think about it, too, right there, you know, I mean, there's not a lot that the 42 of Navarro could do. The 14 started to come down. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You have a driver back behind you who's pushing, another driver back behind the driver that's pushing you, that's pushing him. There's not a lot that Andrew Navarro could have really done. You know, I mean, you can lift, but even if you're getting, you know, even if you're lifting, you're still going to get the rear jacked up because the guy behind you is pushing and so forth. And then obviously it's just a stack up. It's just all part of that super speedway feel. And that's why you saw that wreck going back out of the tri-oval heading to turn number 1. That took out a lot of competitors. And now there's a lot of drivers up in this top 10. As you see some drivers coming down to the pit lane, there's drivers we haven't really talked about all night up here. Kyle Westwood, he's up to the 10th spot. Ryan Chapman started pretty much nearly dead last in tonight's race. One of those guys over at the Full Throttle Sim Racing community. He's right now sitting in the 5th spot. And he knows how to get to victory lane in wild, wild fashion. We've seen it before here on Nerd TV. Maybe Ryan Chapman has something up his sleeve. Or Andrew Navarro. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of guys that could possibly take this win here tonight.
Yeah, and there's people in the chat that's talking about lift. I'm not lifting for any reason.